So yesterday I was reflecting on this recurring pattern I have, and I was thinking about like what has been feeding this pattern. And I came to a really, what I find interesting realization, like just connecting the dots. And so what I found, I'm gonna try to explain it. Didn't say it out loud yet. That our patterns are linked to a version of ourselves. So instead of imagining myself as just one person, there's many versions of me existing inside of me. Like there's many different parts of me, different stories, different wounds, and they all have their own way of seeing things, their own way of coping with things, of reacting to things, and they all live within us, and they all have their patterns and the things that they use to escape or to like whatever. So I find this very interesting because oftentimes like there's patterns that keep repeating in our lives and we're like, we don't know why we can't free ourselves from it. But it's oftentimes a story, a version of ourselves inside us that is waiting to have our attention, is waiting to be seen. And as long as it's in the shadow, it's gonna be running the show. It's gonna be doing things to, as I said, cope and stuff. And like my pattern, just to put in context, is about food. So I have a tendency, and this has followed me pretty much my whole life, to there's periods like I did improve a lot food-wise, but there's a lot of periods where I overeat or I eat food that I don't actually want to eat because it doesn't make me feel good in my body. But in the moment, I just like get impulsive and I'm like, oh, I want this chocolate. I don't want to restrict myself, I don't want to. So I eat food, and sometimes I eat too much, and then I feel bloated. I don't feel good in my body. And it's something that like goes on and off, and I'm constantly trying to fix it. I'm constantly trying to like be more mindful about what I eat. And even if I improved a lot over time, there's always these moments where I overeat, and sometimes it happens more often, and that I just don't feel good about it. And this is not about like controlling and being like punishing, like I'm trying to find a word, but whatever. Like this is not like to punish me and being like, oh, control everything I eat. It's just that, why would I do this to my body if I love myself? Like, why would I eat food that doesn't make me feel good in my body for the sake of, oh, I just want to be alive and I don't want to be restrictive, and I want to enjoy life, so let me enjoy this food. Yes, but if it's having undesired and uncomfortable results on my body and how I feel in my body, is it really enjoying life? And I've been healing a theme this last week especially. Like this is also something I've been working on my whole life, like self-esteem, my body image and stuff like that. And I used to, like 15 years ago, have horrible self-esteem about my body image. Like I hated every single thing on me, and I was really like negative about myself, and I really didn't like the image I saw. And I did tons of healings on this, and I do like overall, when I look at myself in the mirror, I like myself, I love my body for what it does. I don't only see it as a physical appearance, but as like everything that it is, like it's my temple. And anyways, so I did do a lot of healing stuff around that. But there's always like, in the healing world, there's always, we heal, then we think it's done, and then there's just another layer, a deeper layer. There's something like deep conditioned so far away that then it resurfaces, and you're like, oh, this is still here. So lately, this is what has been happening with my body. I realized there was like a self-talk about, like every time I would see myself in the mirror, because I did gain some weight, and then I've always had a flat stomach, and now I don't tend anymore. Like it's starting to be like more often bloated, more often like having a little bump. But every time I see myself in the mirror, I'm like the automatic thought is like, oh, I should lose weight, oh, I should stop eating, oh, I should. But it's not out of like self-love, it's out of like, I don't like what I'm seeing. It's like that judgment, and that, oh, I would be happy, I would be better, I would be more loved, I would be prettier if I lost weight. And I noticed that like, it's like I was trying to bury that thought, and every time I was like, no, you're beautiful, you know, and like I was not listening to it. And I've experienced many triggers in the last week that showed me, oh, there's still something there. And so I became aware of this wound that was still there. And I put it out that I was like, okay, I feel like soon I'll be healing something around this theme. In healing, we can't really control when it happens. I just remain receptive to it. So when it's ready to be seen and to be liberated, I will meet that. And so it took about a week, and it was maybe 2-3 days ago, I saw a post on Instagram of someone sharing her body and talking about a similar theme, and it compelled me to write about my story. And as I was writing, I started crying. And the crying was not like, it was a release. It was that version of me inside of me that still lives in me from a long time ago, that's still there, like that entity, that wound that is, if I could see it as something separate, it's another version of me that has a story of, I'm not pretty enough, I need to look a certain way to be loved. And that person, that version, made itself be seen. At that moment when I was crying, I was like crying with that version of me. I was holding space for that pain, for that wound. And so anyways, I cried. And I feel like it's still early, because oftentimes we see later on how, like, it's not in the moment that we're like, okay, I healed this, I have proof that I healed this. It's like we notice the change over time. But I know that I released something at that moment, and it's the next day or yesterday that I was thinking about my relationship to my cravings in relationship to this wound. And these cravings is actually this version of myself, this wounded person, that has the cravings. It's not me. It's the cravings is her saying, I'm not loved. Like, has so much shame about herself that she's gonna do things to feed that shame. So if I overeat and I do things that don't feel good in my body, it's gonna make me feel shame, and then it's gonna keep that shame alive, because that shame, it's like the representation of that shame in my body. And so oftentimes when stuff are not seen inside of us, they act out. Sorry, my cat is distracting me. She wants to be in the camera, I think. Hello, say hi. Okay. Yeah, so I find that super interesting, because if it's the shame that's making me, it's like the shame feeds itself. The shame will make you do stuff so that you can continue feeling shame about yourself, because that shame is not seen. And when we allow ourselves to see it, to be with it, and then it gets released. Like, imagine like it's a cloud, and then since you see it, it starts dissipating, like energy moving out of the body, and then it's coming out of my tears and stuff, and it's moving out. And then imagine I don't have this shame anymore. Like, there's layers, so probably I still hold some, but like a lot of the shame got released. And now, since the shame is not here, I don't need to do things to keep the shame alive. So I don't need to continue eating like food that don't nourish me. And then it's because it was coming from that shame. So yeah. So, and I did notice, it's still very early, I did notice that it's easier for me in the last few days to eat the amount of food that my body needs, and after a meal, like a nourishing meal, to not go grab the first sweet I see. And so I find this interesting, because it patterns that we hold is all through this concept. For sure, they all have their unique, for me this was just an example, but I could look back to other situations, other patterns I had, like either in relationships or with addictions. Like I used to have like addictions with drugs and stuff like that, that I'm completely healed from, because all the parts of me that were feeding these addictions has been seen and released, and through that I embodied a new identity, and that identity doesn't need to take drugs. And so it's like that in relationships too. Like there's a point in time where I would abandon myself a lot, and I would so I ended up also being in relationships with people who would reject me. Like it was more like the rejection. I had a huge wound of rejection, and I healed that a lot. And when I was not aware of that wound of rejection, I was like automatically rejecting myself. So I would go with people who would reject me. So in relationships, I would always be with the unavailable partners. And that was a pattern that was recurring time after time until I started healing that. So that version of me that held that wound got seen. And then, so it's just a quick insight on the relationship between patterns and the wounds we hold inside of us. And if we can't seem to be able to get free of a pattern, the question to ask is, who in me is feeding this pattern? What version of me, what story is feeding this pattern? What story needs this pattern in order to stay alive? Because as long as we don't see it, it's alive in the body, and it's gonna need to keep itself alive. Like if I don't have any reason to shame myself, like that thing is going to be like, oh, there's a problem, it doesn't match what I know of reality, so let me do something to feel shameful about myself, you know? So I find this to be very interesting and can further our understanding of why this pattern is still there. And it's not through understanding that we heal, as I said, like during this video, it was really meeting that and giving it love and giving it its space for it to express itself. But it can help us activate that, like connect to that part of ourselves that has been in the shadow, like doing this shadow work to understand, like, and it doesn't matter if you don't know right away. Like if you ask the question, like, what is the story, the wound that is attached to this pattern, and you don't have an answer, it's okay. Just keep that intention in mind, and the answer might come to you in different ways throughout the next days, weeks, or even months, or even years. Sometimes it takes time. But tell me what you think about this, if you ever thought about this, or if it's helpful in any way. And me and my beautiful kitty says, have an amazing day. Mwah!